Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram 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 Hare Hare Hare
Jayo Radha Madhava Kunja Vihari Jayo Radha Madhava Kunja Vihari Jai Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivaradhari Jaya Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivaradhari Yashodanandana Vraja Janaranjana Yashodanandana Vraja Janaranjana Yamuna Tira Vanachari Yamuna Tira Vanachari Jayo Radha Madhava Kunja Vihari Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare Jayo Krishna Balaram Jayo Krishna Balaram Krishna Balaram Jayo Krishna Balaram Jayo Nittai Gauranga Jayo Nittai Gauranga Nittai Gauranga Jayo Nittai Gauranga Jayo Jaya Prabhupada Prabhupada Jayo Jaya Prabhupada Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Reading from Srimad Bhagavatam, 10th Canto, Chapter 1, Text number 44. Please repeat after me. Tasmanna kasya chidroham. Tasmanna kasya chidroham. Acharet sa tata vidaha. Acharet sa tata vidaha. Atmanaha kshemam anvichan. Atmanaha kshemam anvichan. Drogdhur vai parato bhayam. Drogdhur vai parato bhayam. Nanna kasya chidroham. Acharet sa tata vidaha. Nichan parato bhayam. Tasmanna kasya chidroham. Acharet sa tata vidaha. Atmanaha kshemam anvichan. Drogdhur vai parato bhayam. Tasmanna kasya chidroham. Acharet sa tata vidaha. Atmanaha kshemam anvichan. Drogdur vai parato bhayam. Tasmanna kasya chidroham. Acharet sa tata vidaha. Atmanaha kshemam anvichan. Drogdur vai parato bhayam. Word to word translation. Please repeat after me. Tasmat, therefore. Na, not. Kasya chit, of anyone. Droham, envy. Acharet, one should act. Saha, a person. Kamsa, tata vidaha, who has been advised in such a way by Vasudeva. Atmanaha, his own. Kshemam, welfare. Anvichan, if he desires. Drogduhu, of one who is envious of others. Why? Indeed. Parataha, from others. Bhayam, there is cause of fear. Translation and purport by His Divine Grace A.C. Bhakti Vedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada. Translation. Therefore, since envious impious activities cause a body in which one suffers in the next life, why should one act impiously? Considering one's welfare, one should not envy anyone, for an envious person must always fear harm from his enemies, either in this life or in the next. Purport. instead of being inimical towards other living entities, one should act piously by engaging in the service of the Supreme Lord, thus avoiding a fearful situation both in this life and in the next. In this regard, the following moral instruction by the great politician Chanakya Pandita is very meaningful. Chadajurjana samsargam bhajasadu samagamam kuru punya mahoratram smaranityam anityatham. One should give up the company of devils, demons, and non-devotees, and should always associate with devotees and saintly persons. One should always act piously, thinking that this life is temporary and not be attached to temporary happiness and distress. The Krishna consciousness movement is teaching all of human society this principle of becoming Krishna conscious and thus solving the problems of life forever. Tyaktva deham punarjanma naiti mameti so Arjuna. Thus ends the Bhakti Vedanta purport. Om Ajnana Timirandasya Gnananjana Shalakaya Chakshurun Militam Enam Tasmai Shri Guruve Namaha. Nama Om Vishnupadaya Krishna Prestaya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti Vedanta Swamin Itinamine. Namaste Saraswate Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvisesha Shunyavadi Paschata Desatarine. Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadara Shivasadi Gauravaktarunda. Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. Therefore, since envious, impious activities cause a body in which one suffers in the next life, why should one act impiously? Considering one's welfare, one should not envy anyone, for an envious person must always fear harm from his enemies, either in this life or in the next. So we see here, Vasudeva is trying to preach to Kamsa. The background of where we are right now in this discussion is Kamsa is so filled with love for his sister Devaki during her marriage ceremony that even though he is the king, he says, no, I will actually be the charioteer for my sister. Right? Very nice gesture. Anybody does that with, oh, such very nice, very loving he is. And when he's doing that, suddenly an Asharira Vani is heard which says, oh, you foolish Kamsa. No, the eighth son of your sister, whom you are, lovingly taking in your chariot, is going to kill you. Immediately, all that love, affection, everything disappears. The true self manifests. Kamsa is so intensely agitated about his situation that he says, I'm going to find a solution to this problem immediately. If I kill my sister, then there's no eighth son and nobody will kill me. That immediately takes off a sword to chop off her head. At that time, Vasudeva, he is trying to save the situation, and starts preaching to Kamsa. In fact, it's very interesting. In one of the next verses, I'll just read that verse for a second. It said that Vasudeva was actually in anxiety. But he acted. I'll read this verse. Vasudeva's mind was full of anxiety because his wife was facing danger. But in order to please the cruel, shameless, and sinful Kamsa, he externally smiled and spoke to him as follows. Right? Can you imagine the situation? It's a very delicate situation. I mean, you saw how Kamsa acted in one way 1 second, and next second he was ready to do anything. And so there was definitely a reason for Vasudeva to be, anxious. But in order to, deal with this tricky situation, he praised Kamsa. He said, "Oh, you are such a great warrior. You're known for your strength and valor. Why should your name be, sullied by killing an innocent woman like this? She's not the cause of your problem." Right? And then he goes on to, pacify him. But in this verse, very, very interesting, the lesson is being taught to us about the root cause of our material existence itself. Right? This is a very radical philosophy that, you very rarely come across. I don't think, like before coming to Krishna consciousness, I had read some Ramakrishna mission book, and I think I read somebody else's this thing just casually. I had heard so many people speak so much different philosophy, but nobody had what is the reason we are here. Nobody had any good answer, logical answer that actually can be rationally explained. Right? What do the Shastras say? What is the cause of our material bondage? Forgetfulness of what? Just because you're forgetful of Krishna, I don't think Krishna is going to put you in this material world. Sorry, somebody else said something? Our enviousness, actually. See, just think about it for a second. The Supreme Lord is very merciful, very loving, and he has unlimited affection for each and every living entity, even though there is, trillions and billions of whatever of us. He has that capacity for having a very loving and caring relationship within each and every one of those living entities. So if all you wanted to do was be forgetful of Krishna, but then forgetful for what is the next question? Why you want to forget Krishna? Again, it's not that you just want to forget Krishna. You want to be the center of attraction and the center of the universe, or center of other people's universe, just like Krishna is. Why should everybody worship Krishna? Why not me? I am also important. Why not me? And I want to try this. That is why we are. Because if everybody's attention, everybody's center, everybody's focus is on pleasing Krishna and loving relationship with Krishna, If we create an imbalance by saying, no, you worship me, I will take better care of you. I want to be the center. You pay attention to me. Then it's a disturbance. And that is why, in order to rectify ourselves, we are sent to this material world. Right? This is a very nice example of envious person and what happens to them, which is a very wonderful lesson for all of us to learn in the Chaitanya Charitamrita. So this is this comes in the Madhya Leela, chapter 15. So this is describing the Rath Yatra festival. We recently had this Rath Yatra festival, and devotees from Navadvip and other places would come down to Jagannath Puri to celebrate the festival. So, after the festival, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu asked all the devotees to return to Bengal. And Chaitanya Mahaprabhu sent Nityananda Prabhu to Bengal for preaching, and also sent Ramadasa, Gadadhara Dasa, and several other devotees with him. Then Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, with great humility, sent some Jagannath Prasadam and a cloth from Lord Jagannatha to his mother through Srivasa Thakura. Right? And there's a whole description of how he took care of all of them. At this time, Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya wanted to invite Chaitanya Mahaprabhu to come and have lunch at his house. And so there's very interesting, interaction between Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya and Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. So this is very nice, this thing. So basically, so one day Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya came before Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu with folded hands and submitted a request. Since all the Vaishnavas had returned to Bengal, there was a good chance that the Lord would accept an invitation. Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya said, "Please accept my invitation for lunch for 1 month." So you see, negotiation. If you begin very high, then you can bring it down. So Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya, wanted to invite the Lord for many days. It began with 1 month request, knowing that very well that he is not going to accept 1 month. And then Sarvabhauma then said, please accept the invitation for 20 days. When Sarvabhauma requested Chaitanya Mahaprabhu to accept lunch for 15 days, the Lord said, I shall accept lunch at your place for 1 day only. Look at the interaction between the Lord and this thing. Then Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya then caught hold of the Lord's lotus feet and submissively begged, please accept lunch for at least 10 days. Start with 30, then 20, and then 15, and then 10. In this way, by and by, so more negotiation must have happened. See, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu reduced the duration to 5 days. Thus, for 5 days, he regularly accepted the Bhattacharya's invitation to lunch. After this, Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya said, my Lord, there are 10 sannyasis with you. Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya then submitted that Paramananda Puri Goswami would accept a 5-day invitation at his place. This had already been settled before the Lord. Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya said, Damodara Swarupa is my intimate friend. He will come sometimes with you and sometimes alone. The other 8 sannyasis will accept invitation for 2 days each. In this way, there will be engagements for each and every day during the entire month. If all the sannyasis came together, it would not be possible for me to pay them proper respects. Therefore, I would be an offender. Sometimes you will come alone to my place, and sometimes you will be accompanied by Swarupa Damodara. Having this arrangement confirmed by Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, the Bhattacharya became very glad and immediately invited the Lord to his house on that very day. Yeah. So we see here that, as a, like if you remember the premise that we are here in jail and we are supposed to learn how to behave outside. Right? If you were in the regular society, how will you behave this thing? And you have to exhibit that behavior. That's why this example of, if you just for a second think, if you were a jailer, right? Who is the jailer in this thing? Who is given the responsibility of a jailer? Durga Devi. Right? Subhadra Mai represents Krishna's sister, Durga Devi. Right? Durga Devi is given this task of being a jailer. And if you put yourself in the mind of a jailer, what will the jailer think? Jailer's purpose is not to torture people in jail. The purpose is to refine the prisoners and rehabilitate them back into the society. Why is this? The reality is, like for example in the United States. United States has the highest incarceration rate in the entire world. There are more people in jails in the United States than anywhere in the world. Almost if you compare to China is one of the lower ones. India also is on the lower side. We are like 20 times, 30 times more, 900 and something for 100,000 people versus like 30s and 40s in other huge number. And it is a very expensive affair. The government spends so much money per prisoner. It's unbelievable. If each of those prisoners, I think it is almost like $150,000, $200,000 or something per prisoner, the expense, to the government. It is so much cheaper and easier to let them live outside. So in the same way, the Lord does not want us to keep us in the prison. It is actually more expensive, more painful. Like imagine the jailer job. You'll see what are you doing. If you're behaving nicely, no problem. Otherwise, he has to design, more and more complex places to make you suffer and make you learn a lesson. Right? And so if you are if you are nicely dealing with, like in a jail, you left out for, night time the doors are all closed, right? Daytime automatically the doors open. You left out, then you're supposed to go and eat and all that, and then take bath and this thing. While eating time, if you fight with your other people and all that, what will they do? They'll beat you nicely and put you in solitary confinement for a week. So we're like this. There is testing going on of if I give you freedom, how will you act? Right? So similarly here, We are being taught how to behave nicely. If you behave nicely, then in this world, in this material world, in this material situation, you can be given a situation where you are exactly like living in Vaikut, back in Goloka Vrindavan. The Durga Devi's influence on you is no longer there. That is our aim. So we are learning here how should devotees behave with each other, right? So Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya is so lovingly inviting. As a Gruhastha, Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya is such a exalted person. He is heading the Jagannath, Lord Jagannath's worship over there. The most respectable person in the whole of Puri. And he wants to serve all these people. He serve all the sannyasis, and take care of them in his house. So, after all these arrangements are made, and he's very particular who will come which day, how will I take care. If all of you come one time, I can't really, do all this, and please come, 2 of you come every day. All this arrangement is made. After returning to his home, Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya gave orders to his wife. And his wife, Shathira Mata, began cooking with great pleasure. At Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya's house, there was always a full stock of food. Whatever spinach, vegetables, fruit and so on were required, he collected and brought back home. Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya personally began to help Shathira Mata cook. She was very experienced, and she knew how to cook nicely. On the southern side of the kitchen, there were 2 rooms for offering food. And in one of them, food was offered to Shalagrama Narayana. The other room was for Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's lunch. The Lord's lunch room was very secluded, and it was newly constructed by the Bhattacharya. The room was so constructed that there was only one door opening on the outside, which served as an entrance for Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. There was another door attached to the kitchen, and it was through this door that the food was bought. First, 3 manas of cooked rice, almost 6 pounds, was poured onto a big banana leaf. 6 pounds. Then a whole stack of rice was mixed with so much yellowish and fragrant clarified butter that it began to overflow the leaf. There were a number of pots made of the barks of banana trees and the leaves of the kea plant. And these pots were filled with various cooked vegetables and placed on all sides of the leaf. See how ecologically, sustainable, the Vedic tradition was, right? Everything is made out of banana leaves and this. You eat, you put it in the compost, and it immediately, within few days, it is gone. It becomes compost, and you put it back in the soil. Right? There were 10 kinds of spinach. A soup called sukta, which was made with bitter nimba leaves, a pungent preparation made with black pepper, a mild cake made of fried curd. Fried curd. I didn't even know what fried curd is. Huh? Oh, must be paneer. Huh? Okay. And buttermilk mixed with small fried pieces of dal. There were preparations of dugda tumbi, dugda kushmanda, vesara, lapra, mocha gantha, mocha bhaja, and other vegetables. I don't know what these names of vegetables are. There are unlimited quantities of vruddha kushmanda bhadi, phula bhadi, fruits and various roots. Other preparations included eggplant mixed with newly grown nimba leaves fried together, light bhadi, fried patola, and fried rounds of squash and pumpkin. There was a soup made with fried urad dal and moong dal, defeating nectar. There was also sweet chutney and 5 or 6 kinds of sour preparations, beginning with badhamla. This goes on and on. If I read this, whole day will be reading all the preparation. Okay, I'll just when everything was ready, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu came there alone after finishing his midday duties. He knew the heart of Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya. After Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya washed the Lord's feet, the Lord entered the room to take his lunch. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu was a little astonished to see the gorgeous arrangement, and gesturing, he spoke to Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya. This is most uncommon. How was this arrangement of rice and vegetables finished within 6 hours? Even 100 men cooking on 100 stoves could not possibly finish all these preparations within so short a time. I hope the food has already been offered to Krishna, since I see there are tulsi flowers on it. You are most fortunate and your endeavor is successful, for you have offered such wonderful food to Radha Krishna. The color of the rice is so attractive and its aroma so good that it appears Radha and Krishna have directly taken it. My dear Bhattacharya, your fortune is very great. How much shall I praise you? I am also very fortunate to be able to take the remnants of this food. Take away Krishna's sitting place and put it aside. Then give me prasadam on a different plate. Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya said, it is not so wonderful, my lord. Everything has been made possible by the energy and mercy of him who will eat the food. So, very lovingly, Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya is, making him sit. So here what happens, we have only 7 minutes, so I'll just speed up a little bit. So while these loving interactions were going on, right, then what happened? Bhattacharya was very serving with a lot of pleasure. At this time, the Bhattacharya used to have a son-in-law. His name was Amogha, right? Who was the husband of his daughter Shati. Although born in an aristocratic Brahmana family, Amogha was a great fault finder and blasphemer. Amogha wanted to see Chaitanya Mahaprabhu eat, but he was not allowed to enter. Bhattacharya, indeed, the Bhattacharya guarded the threshold of his house with a stick in his hand. However, as soon as the Bhattacharya began distributing prasadam and was a little inattentive, Amogha came in. Seeing the quantity of food, he began to blaspheme. This much food is sufficient to satisfy 10 or 12 men. But this sannyasi alone is eating so much. As soon as Amogha said this, Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya turned his eyes upon him. Seeing the Bhattacharya's attitude, Amogha immediately left. The Bhattacharya ran after him to strike him with a stick, but Amogha fled so fast that the Bhattacharya could not catch him. The Bhattacharya then began to curse his son-in-law and call him ill names. When the Bhattacharya returned, he saw that Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu was laughing to hear him criticize Amogha. When Shati's mother, the Bhattacharya's wife, heard of this incident, she immediately began to strike her head and chest, saying again and again, "Let Shati become a widow." Seeing the lamentation of both husband and wife, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu tried to pacify them. According to their desire, he ate the prasadam and was very satisfied. After Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu finished eating, the Bhattacharya poured water for the Lord to wash his mouth, hands and legs and offered him flavored spices, tulsi manjaris, cloves and cardamom. The Bhattacharya then placed a flower garland over Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and smeared his body with sandalwood pulp. After offering obeisances, the Bhattacharya submitted the following humble statement. I brought you to my home just to have you blasphemed. This is a great offense. Please excuse me. I beg your pardon. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu said, what Amoga has said is correct. Therefore, it is not blasphemy. What is your offense? After saying this, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu left and returned to his residence. Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya followed him. Falling down at the Lord's feet, Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya said many things. In self-reproach. The Lord then pacified him and sent him back to his home. After returning to his home, Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya consulted with his wife, the mother of Shati. After personally condemning himself, he began to speak as follows. If the man who blasphemed Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is killed, his sinful action may be atoned. Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya continued, or if I give up my own life, this sinful action may be atoned. However, neither of these ideas is befitting because both bodies belong to Brahmanas. Instead, I shall never see the face of that blasphemer. I reject him and give up my relationship with him. I shall never speak his name. Inform my daughter Shati to abandon her relationship with her husband because he has fallen down. When the husband falls down, it is the wife's duty to relinquish the relationship. When a husband is fallen, one's relationship with him must be given up. That night, Amogha, Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya's son-in-law, fled, and in the morning he immediately fell sick with cholera. When the Bhattacharya heard that Amogha was dying of cholera, he thought it is a favor of Providence that he is doing what I want to do. When one offends the Supreme Personality of Godhead, karma immediately takes effect. After saying this, he recited 2 verses from the revealed scripture. What we have had to arrange with great endeavor by collecting elephants, horses, chariots and infantry soldiers has already been accomplished by the Gandharvas. When a person mistreats great souls, his lifespan, opulence, reputation, religion, possessions and good fortune are all destroyed. At this time, Gopinath Acharya went to Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and the Lord asked him about the events taking place in Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya's house. Gopinath Acharya informed the Lord that both the husband and wives were fasting and that their son-in-law Amogha was dying of cholera. As soon as Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu heard that Amogha was going to die, he immediately ran to him in great haste. Placing his hand on Amogha's chest, he spoke as follows. The heart of a Brahmana is by nature very clean. Therefore, it is a proper place for Krishna to sit. Why have you allowed the Chandala of jealousy to sit here also? In this way, you have contaminated a most purified place, your heart. However, due to the association of Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya, all your contamination is now vanquished. When a person's heart is cleansed of all contamination, he is able to chant the Mahamantra, Hare Krishna. Therefore, Amogha, get up and chant the Hare Krishna Mahamantra. If you do so, Krishna will unfailingly bestow mercy upon you. After hearing Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and being touched by him, Amoga, who was on his deathbed, immediately stood up and began to chant the holy name of Krishna. Thus he became mad with ecstatic love and began to dance emotionally. When Amoga danced in ecstatic love, he manifested all ecstatic symptoms: trembling, tears, jubilation, trance, perspiration, and a faltering voice. Seeing these waves of ecstatic emotion, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu began to laugh. It goes on. The Amoga then falls at the Lord's feet, and begs his forgiveness. So we see here, like, what a wonderful interaction between the Lord and Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya, and how his wife is cooking for them, and Amoga comes on offense due to his envy. And how the Lord is saying, what he said is correct, right? So much food is there. Actually, 10 people can eat. And so he's just making a factual statement. Right? He's not seeing it as an offense. And when he knew that he was going to die, he immediately goes to forgive him. See, this is how we should all learn how to interact with each other. How to interact with, devotees that surround us. Sometimes we think Krishna consciousness is about, some big thing you have to do, big. It's actually in these small things that we are on a daily basis tested by Durga Devi, and where we have to manifest our qualities. It's not easy, because each of us over the years we develop our mindset and a way of behavior and all that. And because we are criminals and we are in jail, invariably we will have some problems. All of us have our own challenges. We are good in something which are our strengths or our spikes, and we are more aligned with Vaishnava behavior. There are other areas which are challenges for us. But the solution is not that you will say, oh no, I can't interact, let me just run away and hide somewhere and do Nirjana Bhajana. It's not possible. You can't keep a prisoner in solitary confinement forever and expect him to this thing. The jailer has to test, right? He has to put them in a regular this thing and see how he's interacting, test and test. Okay, now he's fully reformed. Then a parole officer will come. There will be a hearing, right? And you'll be let go. Now you're ready to interact with the outside world. So it's very, very wonderful to see, how envy can result in, destroying our spiritual these things. We should be very careful about envy. Spiritual life means understanding how to differentiate and understand who is your superior, who is your equal, and who is below you. And with love and great affection and following the right etiquette, you should learn how to interact with each of these three levels differently. How do you interact with your superior? How do you always lovingly serve them? Then how do you interact with your peers? If somebody says something, how do you properly behave? Many times we get caught in this. They said like this, I'm going to give a fitting reply. They say, right, an eye for an eye makes everybody blind, right? So we have to learn that that is not the way of interaction. Somebody has to break, somebody has to make the change. So we have to learn how to properly behave. Yep. We have already run out of time. We'll stop here. Granthrat Srimad Bhagavatam ki, Jai Srila Prabhupada ki, Bol Premanande.